Oh, yeah.
Maybe like 1,000, members or so.
Did y'all have a family life center?
We did not have a family life center.
Okay.
Highland Baptist did.
Down
That
the
was our
street?
big rival.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
They had you.
Yeah, we were like, people just go to Highland to play foosball and
That's
stuff.
right.
So
you just go there because you want to play
we're here for
sports.
Jesus,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. Hardcore.
Yep.
Christians.
So, I'd become a believer a few years earlier at a charismatic revival in Pensacola, Florida called Brownsville Assembly of God is the name of the church. Some of you may have attended that, but had always been around religion, but never knew Jesus, and that's a big difference. And so I think that was 96 when I met Jesus at that revival. And college rolled around, and I still wasn't attracted to girls. And then I had this experience where I saw this guy at a church camp. I was like, I think I'm attracted to guys, but I'm not gay, because gay is this rainbow flags and activism in New York. And I'm just a kid in Florence, Alabama. And I love Jesus, and that's not me. And so
you're like, at my Southern Baptist church, they're not real cool with the
gays.
So
Alabama, Florence, Alabama in the 90s was not like a hotbed.
That's right. A hotbed for homosexuality.
Positivity,
That's right.
Positive gay vibes. So, and so really going through college just drowned myself sort of in the fraternity, and I would go to date parties, things with girls, but just was never really wanted to date. Was not there, and so graduated college and was just sort of hit in the face the reality of Brett, I think you're gay. I think that's what this is, and just sort of kind of went down this story of going from death to life. And at that time in my life, I just felt really dead and really sad. And so, fast forwarding to last fall, resigned from my position at my company. Had a great experience, but knew it was time to move on and professionally and do some consulting and that kind of thing. So on September the 6th, I put out a website, bluebabiespink.com. So literally September 6th, I hit the publish button and I published a thing called A Gossip Guide to Brett Trapp's Sexuality. And it was kind of weird and shocking, but I was just like, I kind of do this in a cheeky and light way. And people had been talking, I'd heard of rumor, what is Brett, why doesn't he date? What's the deal? Maybe he's asexual, maybe he's just into his work too much, whatever it is, all these different theories. And so I just put all those in this little kind of fun graphic, and then pulled in some other kind of silly cliches. And at the bottom, I was like, yeah, but I am gay. So let me just show you what this was like, and really with no agenda to twist arms or debate about theology. It was just, this is my story, and you can do with it whatever the heck you want. But
was there a point when you were like, oh my goodness, this is bigger than just my friends now? People are reading this. I mean, I told you earlier that I remember, I can't believe it's only been 6 months since the whole thing, the 44-day, because I remember there was a month where I feel like I had 12 people say, oh my goodness, you got to go see this website, read this blog. And I couldn't believe, oh, he's in Atlanta. That's fantastic.
Yeah. If you're in this room and you have a big secret, you play this game in your mind a lot. You're constantly thinking about your friends or family, what would they think? Okay, what would that person think? And then you're kind of reading the tea leaves of how they act. And so I was in the closet for 20 years. I'm constantly just watching people talk about the homosexuality issue and kind of okay, that person just said a really terrible thing. They're down the list, But then I kind of came down to I was so gripped by fear, and I realized man, there's people in my life who I 99% trust. Great people, close friends, but I'm 99 is different from 100. And so really when I got down to it and I made that list, it was maybe eight people I feel who were no, I can be honest with this person and they're not gonna flip over the table and call me a freak and storm out the room. And so that's where I started, because I was way too weak and scared to go anything beyond that. So I was God, just give me the strength to talk to these people. Let me be that person. And if I feel every gay preacher's kid in America has emailed me, because they just felt this connection.
Give me a number. How many gay preachers' kids have emailed
at least
you?
100.
That is crazy.
Maybe at least 100. That's not an exaggeration.
And honestly, that is so massively important.
Yeah.
That they felt Brett, you shared, and now I can share with you.
Yeah, and it's you think your story is dirty or shameful, whatever it is, and it also feels very niche. But that's the beauty of it, is that when you put your story out in kind of a niche way, that's going to draw people in who are connecting with some part of that. And so so many really sad stories, that have come my way, and I'm trying my best to respond and field them, but it's really tough. So we need more people. We need you guys to be there for a lot of these people. I love that.
So. Brett said when we were talking about a month ago, when we were talking about this, he was gosh, this night needs to go really well because I need some help responding to some of these emails. I need more people who are willing to be sirens of hope, honestly. So help us understand how important that is to think about what we're saying now, because all of us have a gay friend, you might not know they're gay yet. And so, what are your thoughts on that?
I call it sort of casual, judgy language. And when you're with close friends, all of us say things we probably shouldn't say. And so I had this weird perspective of sort of being like undercover, and like, I remember this one time I was at a bachelor party and my friend said, gay people are the closest thing we have to aliens, And I was like, what does that even mean? And like, I just think, have relationships where there's just not this kind of flippant, judgy kind of language, whether that's around anything, race or sexual orientation or whatever it is. There's just no reason for that. So
I love Andy Stanley. Obviously, he's a big hero of mine. I'm paid for him to be a hero, but he says all the time, over and over again, hey, if you have a faith that causes you to mistreat people, there's something wrong with your faith, which I think that's essentially, that's some of what you're saying there, that my parents don't speak to me now because I'm gay and I'm in a relationship. What should I say when they approach me and say I can't be gay and a Christian and that the Bible I read is different than theirs? How would that person handle that? In 60 seconds, Brett, what should you say?
Man, we could stay here all night.
Just so you know, that's not Brett's number, so that's they're probably like, hey,
gotcha.
can I just talk to you offline?
So to this person, one thing I would say is you're not going to change anything about your parents, their beliefs, definitely not overnight. I think the more we try to change people and fight and argue and debate, the less they're changed, and that's not really the point. And so I just go back to this very foundational piece of you're going to have to learn to give grace to people that don't like you. That's just part of the faith.
Wow.
That is a prerequisite for the Christian faith, in my opinion, is you're going to have enemies, and your job is to just love them. And so if that person is your mom or your dad, and that is a terrible, I hate that answer.
No.
I hate it,
Well, it's hard.
Yep.
And don't be overcome by that, but you have to rise above it. I mean, Michelle Obama's statement, I believe it was at the Democratic convention where she said, when they go low, we go high.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, how powerful is that statement?
Yeah.
Here's another question. My best friend from college came out after we graduated and parted ways. She got married last fall, and I went to her wedding, but I was never really there during the season she came out. Would it be weird at this point to go to her and ask to hear her story?
No, I don't think it's ever weird. I don't at all. Now, again, it's contextual. What does that person think?
Sure.
But no, have that conversation. She probably wants to share it. She's probably dying to share it. So do it. Yeah, 100%.
So I am LGBT Christian here with a group of LGBT Christians. How do you walk your Christian walk? And what do you think the best way we as gay Christians can be a beacon of hope?
Whew. I think being gay can be a fantastic advantage. I have learned so much about grace and forgiveness. Paul talks about the thorn in his flesh, and this is sort of, for a lot of us, we felt that way. And again, like so many things in life, it can push you down a path of anger and bitterness and, all that kind of stuff, and things happen. Or you can let it push you the other direction. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've tried to do, very imperfectly. I have walked with God in some seasons and utterly not walked with him in others. And if you read Blue Baby's Pink, God kind of goes dark in episodes like 30 through 40, because I didn't want to, tell a story that, me and God were buddy that time, because we weren't. I was struggling in a dark place and super sad. And so, but God was there. And
I wonder if your relationship with God actually propelled you to be that vulnerable.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think the concept of we don't have anything to prove, I think really bad theology begins with my attempt to make God happy by good behavior and jumping through the hoops and smiling on Sunday morning. And I had a lot of that thinking programmed into my mind, and so there was sort of a deconstruction, for lack of a better term, of that bad theology and replacing it with more of a Jesus and grace-based approach.
I just feel so grateful for you and your courage to tell your story. I feel like I'm better because I've been able to meet you. So thank you. Thanks for your courage.
Yeah, and if you're gay here, LGBT, it may have been hard for you to come in the door, but I just want to say that you're incredibly loved, and no matter what anybody's told you or how you feel, you are so loved, and your future is very bright, and there's a lot of hope. A lot of hope on the other side of that, of that wall, whatever you want to call it.
Well, first of all, would y'all mind clapping for Brett and telling him thank you? You got one standing O, but I'll give you one. You got two, Brett. You got six. We'll all stand for you. You mind standing up, please? That would be great. Thanks. Why don't we do this? I'm going to pray, You can just stay standing. I'm going to pray for us, and then, Brett, I'd love it if you'd close us in prayer, if that'd be. And I just pray that you would continue to use him, not just with the LGBT community, but God, that you would use him to create more allies for that community, that you would use him in the lives of parents who have kids who have come out. But God, for every one of us that has a secret that we've never told anybody, or something that about ourselves that we feel like you can't accept, I just pray that you'll continue to use him in powerful ways to free prisoners, because that's your ministry, and that's ultimately what we're all here to do. So I just thank you for him, and I thank you for his willingness to be a part of this tonight.